I'm from the southern part of the Philippines, in the island of Mindanao, the Muslim area. So I grew up, you know, I'm not a Muslim, but I grew up in a Muslim area because my parents are teachers in the area. My father is a socialist, and they were like there to educate the people. They were volunteers. It was it's like a frontier in the country before where it's not developed. So young people go there to help and develop the island. And my parents were young people. They went there. They're teachers, so they started. So I grew up in that culture, and I kind of, you know, grew up watching a lot of cinema on weekends because there's a nearby town where there's like 4 theaters and they play double bill. So we watch 8 movies every week, and that kind of, you know, it developed this thing in me, the cinema culture in me. You know, I grew up watching cinema, so now I'm a filmmaker. I became a filmmaker. And well, they call my cinema long because I make long films. I mean, the duration, they're not long, they're just cinema, but that's what they call them because I have an 11-hour film and 2 9 hours, 1 8-hour, 1 7-hour, and then the latest, the one that was shown in Venice now and Toronto, and the one that's doing the circuit, the festival circuit now, is 6 hours, Century of Birthing. So it's part of the articulation. They keep asking me, why is it long? Why are your films long? Well, the most logical answer is my cinema is free. I'm not, you know, I'm not part of the convention anymore. I liberated my cinema since the digital thing. I kind of liberated my cinema. I believe that if you consider cinema as art, then it is free. It's not just 2 hours. You cannot be confined to the 2-hour thing, to the 1.5-hour thing, which is kind of imposed by business, you know, Hollywood, Hong Kong, Bollywood, where you don't go beyond the 1.5-hour or 2-hour limit. They said, you know, they have this imposed perspective that the level of endurance, you know, of watching is just 2 hours. That's bullshit. It's all about profit. They want to do that because they wanted to show the film. They want to maximize the showing of the film 7 times, which is maximum profit also. So if you want to consider cinema as art, then liberate it, man. There's no fixed canvas, you know. You can see now. You can see since the start of Hollywood that the system is very feudal, very fascist. You know, it's kind of imposed. And I'm not saying that, you know, it's not valid. It's valid because it's been a praxis here. It's been the praxis. But you know, there are people who, you know, who do things beyond that praxis. You know, there are independent filmmakers in America also who do, you know, things beyond that. You have Warhol, you know, James Benning, you know, all those guys, you know, Jim Jarmusch. They do the non-conventional thing, you know. It's not just the imposed thing.
All right.
So there's you can see that, you know, the culture of cinema in the U.S. is still very feudal.
Yeah.
It's Hollywood imposed. We need to destroy that kind of imposition, that kind of very, very problematic, you know, perspective in cinema. Because if you consider cinema as art, then it is free. The philosophy is always about, you know, truth. The praxis of aesthetics must be geared always towards, you know, truth. If you do the, you know, the film language thing where you do a lot of, the full coverage thing for each scene, that's film language. You know, it's not truthful. It's very movie. It's movie making. Whereas this is my opinion, because I'm always for the truth. Aesthetics is always for the truth. I'm working on the aesthetic domain as an artist, so I'm always for the truth. The one take or the long take will give you the truth, you know. And the acting alone, you know, you tell the actor to do the whole thing, the emotion, everything is very truthful. But if you do the cut to cut, I don't know, are you getting the truth there?
You lose a lot of it.
No. You ask the actors, they'll say no. Well, they are so distracted, they're just doing the motion, they hate it, you know. But if you do the one take for them, they will love the scene, because they will, you know, everything will flow naturally, everything will flow truthfully.
Would you?
Honestly, I don't even understand the cinema.
All right.
I'm just part of this whole, you know, exercise, this medium that's still that remains a mystery to me. Art is a mystery. There's always that conflict. There's always this clash, you know. You don't really understand art. It's always about, you know, searching for the truth. You know, searching for what is a real aesthetic. You know, as articulated by your medium. My medium is this so-called cinema, so I am trying to articulate my truths there, but I don't really understand cinema, to be very honest with it, man.
So you see it more as a release. I mean, in most.
No, it's a kind of quest, you know.
Right.
This venue is where I wanna, you know, search for the truth, you know.
Yeah, and most of your films are deeply rooted within your Filipino culture.
Yes, because you know, I want to be truthful, because that's the culture that I know, the culture that I can, you know, share with other cultures. You know, I cannot make a film about Afghanistan culture, you know, Afghan culture. I can only, you know, share with you the Malay culture that I know, you know. And I want to share our struggles to the world. I think that's basically it, you know. It's very fundamental. I can only share with you the Filipino culture, the Malay culture, because I want to be very honest with you as a filmmaker, you know, as a so-called filmmaker, you know. So, and I hope I can articulate my culture to you, you know.
All right. There's a couple of other methods.
Yeah.
I've read you like to shoot a lot more in black and white. Is there anything specific?
Well, it's another black and white is another way of saying life. You know, you erase the colors and then you go beyond. You know, you go beyond what's